Client acquisition can feel hard for most creative agencies, and it's not because it's difficult, but because mostly it's misunderstood. Most agencies try to perform marketing. They are posting consistently, they're chasing tactics, they're experimenting with ads, and they follow whatever's ultimately trending. And they wonder why it ends up feeling inconsistent. But client acquisition isn't about performing for attention. It's about building a system that allows the right clients to raise their hand in the right moment. So in this video, I'm going to show you why acquisition feels harder than it should, and how it should shift from marketing activity to structured acquisition systems that compounds over time. Let's jump into it. So let's start with why it ends up feeling so hard. Is that we're end up kind of posting at random, we're doing things in the moment, we are creating for so much kind of ad fatigue if we are running ads. We run into cold outreach burnout that we're doing so much and feeling like we're kind of selling to someone that hasn't interested in us talking to them. It ends up creating this like very feast or famine oriented mentality. And it's hard because it's entirely reactive based on the fact that I need revenue now and I don't have revenue for tomorrow. So we are in this like consistent cliff oriented feeling of survival mode. And the performance trap that it ends up creating is most agencies are chasing reach, they're chasing engagement, they're looking at the algorithms, they're trying to chase these different trends of this agency over here is doing X, Y, and Z. And they end up confusing visibility with acquisition. And marketing activity should actually equal an acquisition system, not just having eyeballs looking at you. And so we want to start to shift from performance to system. So how can we go about that like self-selection acquisition framework that allows for us to have the ability to bring people in when we need them, when we want them? Instead of trying to convince cold audiences, we want to create mechanisms that allow pre-qualified prospects to signal interest. So let's talk about the 3 layers of this real acquisition system. So the first step, vital component, the foundation of everything, is the position clarity. Who is it for? What is the problem? What is the outcome? So who am I working with? What industry, what profile, what ICP, what is the persona? What is the problem, that one specific challenge that we are solving for? And then what is the outcome that they are looking to accomplish? It is core to everything that you are doing. And you need to have this really well understood in a simple format. If you don't, this becomes problematic going into any of the others. Spend the appropriate amount of time here because it is incredibly vital. Then we need to understand the signal mechanism, what causes the right prospect to raise their hand at that moment. So having a clear understanding of what type of place do they find themselves. So thinking about it this way, frankly, are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? And where are they in those kind of phases of making decision-making criteria? Are they actively looking for agencies because they are solution aware and they know that they need to be talking with agencies? Or are they problem aware and there's a little bit of an understanding of they need to understand what is even possible from a solution perspective to allow for them to make a determination that they are looking for an agency to solve this problem? And based on where they are, it allows for you to understand the type of mechanism that you should be using. Are you talking about a case study that allows for them to understand here's the agency because they are looking for an agency? Are you looking for content that allows for you to educate because they are problem aware, or maybe not even problem aware, but they're definitely not solution aware, that allows for you to start to educate them a little bit towards the place where they understand that they're needing an agency? And again, another example in solution aware, like a direct offer, here's exactly what we can ultimately be doing. That is like a very kind of outbound oriented direction. And ultimately that like clear, true problem framing. So is it like a book? Is it a white paper? Like what exactly is it that we are doing that allows for them to understand, to be able to take that next step? And then the third layer, ultimately relatively simple, but once they signal, what do? Are you putting them to a call? Is there a schedule for follow-up? Do you have a link that they're going to book that call with? Is there some kind of application that they're filling out? Are they booking a call and then filling out an application? The thing that you want to do is you want to remove friction and have no chaos for you or for them. You want to have a very regimented oriented system because it's also vital that they follow your system so that they learn to respect you and your agency in the process, that you are the expert here to solve their problem and they need to be working within your system. The more that you do that, the more comfortable they actually end up feeling. I know a lot of agencies are trying to bend over backwards for their prospects so that they feel like they're removing friction. But the reality is that someone wants an expert that has a framework, that has a system, and they want to actually fall within that system. And why this ends up reducing friction overarching is that when someone raises their hand, you've already gone through the stages of belief that they need. They already see themselves in the direction and what they're looking to accomplish, and they do already want the help. The reality, what ends up happening in a lot of instances is that a lot of agencies end up trying to persuade versus wanting to confirm that here's the direction that they want to go and here's the thing that they're looking to accomplish. You're here and you want to be here. Is that right? Versus you're here and you should want to be here, or you are here and trying to define the world that they live within. And it creates a lot of problems of you needing to feel like you are, frankly, a used car salesman trying to sell this car to someone that may or may not want it. And why this is so wrong, that so many agencies they're like trying to manufacture attention. They're trying to convince cold prospects instead of trying to attract them with meaningful message of a bit of a polarizing oriented dynamic. Is that the reality of the world today is you do need to stand for something. And what it ends up creating if you don't is it ends up creating an inconsistent pipeline. It ends up being an incredible energy drain. Your revenue is entirely volatile. And when you start to build a meaningful system in those 3 layers that we were talking about, you're able to have a bit more of a predictive pipeline. You're able to bring in better clients because they are ready to work with you. They have the problem and the solution that they're looking for, and they're starting to lean into trusting you. You have higher leverage because they're following your system, and a whole lot less stress. Frankly, also being able to have a meaningfully stronger position in the market as well. When you're doing all of these things, acquisition stops feeling so hard and a difficult thing, this uphill battle that you're needing to follow, because it stops being random. You actually have a strategy, a direction to go. And I know for many of you, what I'm talking about right now feels kind of table stakes, right? It's very obvious in some degree because this is what you do for a living. But I want you to stop and take a moment, look in the mirror, and make sure that you're doing the same work that you would have done for a client and giving yourself the same advice, allowing for you to focus more, attract the right clients, and being able to ultimately grow your business. If client acquisition has felt harder than it should, it's not because you need more tactics. It's usually because there are blind spots inside your agency that are quietly weakening your positioning, slowing down your decision making, and diluting your signal in the market. I break those down in detail in my video on the 5 blind spots holding back agency growth. Go watch that next, because once you remove those blind spots, your acquisition system becomes much easier to build and far more effective.